Hello and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford, and I'm excited to be on here briefly today to talk to you about visibility is strategic. Visibility is strategic. We know that in today's environment, really in any environment, there is a lot of noise, a lot of competing factors that are vying for your client or prospective client's attention. And the question that you have to ask is, how do I become seen? How do I become heard? How do I become that attraction magnet that it is a no-brainer that I am the best viable option? Well, with anything, it takes planning and it takes strategy. See, we can all use hope methodology and spin our wheels and wait for the phone to ring, wait for clients to hit our queue, wait for our funnels to fill up, or we can become very strategic in how we position ourselves to get noticed, position ourselves to amplify our voice. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, just briefly, and it's what I like to call Tuesday tips. So we're going to come on today with a little tip for you to consider, especially when it's visibility on a platform. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, as I mentioned, visibility is strategic, right? We don't want to use hope methodology. We want to have a plan of action. We want to take our time to plan out, to develop a framework that our message, our products and services can sit on. And this particular visibility, because there's many lanes that you can take, I want to talk to individuals who are seeking to be interviewed. You want to be on someone's platform. So this isn't positioning yourself as a speaker on a stage or as a panelist, but this is actually being positioned, whether it's on TV, radio, podcasts, social media platforms, where you are behind the mic being interviewed. One of the things that I found is very often individuals, they have a message and they have a product and they have a service, but they haven't really thought out what this messaging will look like. If it's tied neatly in a bow, what will it look like? And they don't really know the ask. So they know ultimately I want to get person A to see me, to make a buying decision, and to pay me. That's the ultimate goal. But there's some little pieces in between, because basically you are knocking on an unfamiliar door, meaning you may have watched the show that a person has, but you really haven't had a close and intimate relationship or collaboration with this show host. So the first thing you want to do is assess what type of platforms do you want to be on and why, and what audiences are on these particular platforms. So I'll give an example. I was so excited about being interviewed on this national platform that was based out of Las Vegas. Well, I was quick to say yes and went on the show, but didn't do my due diligence to really understand, okay, what did they want this show specifically to be about? Well, even though they were national in scope, this particular conversation, they wanted to focus on the Las Vegas market, the Las Vegas real estate market, particularly mortgages. Well, one of my businesses, the Bradford Group, is a commercial investment mortgage company. However, we are not licensed to do business in Las Vegas. So even though I was able to answer the questions and perhaps provide value to this audience, it was one-sided, meaning there couldn't be a win-win for me other than just having more exposure and telling my story and getting my reps in as far as interviews. But as far as reaching my target audience, that wasn't it. Now, had I asked a few questions, I would have realized, they needed me they were looking specifically for mortgage experts to provide a resource for their clients in the Las Vegas market. So I say that to help you reframe what it is that you're developing. So, and this goes into you hear me often talk about the R3 system: refocus, reframe, and reconnect. And it's all about remaining relevant in changing marketplaces. And the first thing is understanding where we are, like what's the market that we sit in. So that's the first thing with your visibility, is really understanding what's your market doing? What are others in your marketplace doing? Because when you understand that, you come onto the interview stage with a little bit more confidence. Because if your interviewer is worth their weight, they have actually done a little bit of homework, not only on you, but on this market or on the particular product or service that you offer. So they may come at you, they may throw you some zingers, and you want to make sure that you are positioned to be able to provide an intelligent, resourceful answer to those that may be interviewing you. So the first thing is really refocusing on where you sit, and even thinking about some of your wins, because they may ask you about something great and wonderful that you've done, which helps to build your credibility and authority in a particular area, especially when you can bring in that third-party endorsement for something that you've done. So you want to think about that. So again, it's what you're doing in preparation for this interview. You're not just showing up. You want to prepare and come up with your little toolbox of just in case answers, your hip pocket responses if they ask you a particular question. Some interviewers may ask you, well, how and why did you get into this field, or why now? What makes you so relevant today? Well, that should just comfortably roll off your tongue as to, this is kind of your origin story, right? So I always tell people, practice giving your origin story. You may have, depending on the platform, it may be a 55-minute show that you're on, but it may be condensed down to a 10, 15-minute spot. So you want to be able to tell your story, get your key points across in a way that by the end of that show, again, visibility is strategic, you've accomplished what you want to accomplish. And one of the things that Barbara Walters said, and she's obviously, we know her, great interviewer, right? Great journalist. Well, she stated that often the interviewee thinks they're in control, but she said, in her opinion, the interviewer is always in control. They're in the driver's seat. Now, you may or may not agree with that philosophy, but I challenge that you, as the subject matter expert who's coming to the table with your knowledge, with your products, with your service, can be in a seat of empowerment, can be in a seat of control. Even if you don't have the questions in advance, because very often you will not have advanced questions. I'll give you an example. Today, my publicist, I had an interview, and my publicist had asked me earlier for questions that I might want the interviewer to ask me. So I provided questions. And guess what? This interviewer didn't ask not one question. I thought they were going to go one way, and they went a totally different way. But fortunately, because I am the expert on this particular messaging component that we were talking about, I was able to weave it down the path that I wanted it to go. I was able to take her focused direction, answer it in a respectful way, while still guiding back the conversation to where I wanted it to be. So that's the other thing, is when you're thinking about what types of questions, you want to ask, well, what if they pivot left and I really want to go right? The example that I gave is my upcoming book, which is soon to be released July 20th, is called I Pledge of Allegiance, A Journey Through the Words That Shaped a Nation. So this is a wonderful book platform to celebrate the book, to talk about what motivated me to write the book, and just the whole construct of the book, the key messaging, what I wanted people to take away from it. Well, it's not a partisan message at all. It's not a message to divide. It's a message to just have individuals think about how we can become indoctrinated at a very young age, but not really understanding what it is that we're saying and how it is impressing upon our subconscious mind in a way that it may shape our values and how we show up in the world. But this interview went slightly in a different direction. And we started talking about marginalized communities, which the book does address in part, but it's not the main focus of it. But I was able to, again, keep the conversation alive, rich with my responses, with my engagement, while still bringing in, introducing kind of my so what factors along the way. So that's the other thing you want to think about as you are preparing your visibility framework is the so what factor. You've done this thing, you have this expertise in a particular area, you provide a product, you provide a service, you've written this book, you've done these great deeds, you've overcome something and you want to share with the world. So what? The so what helps you to kind of bridge the impact of what you did and why it matters. Because when you're able to address, I believe, the so what factor and bridge why it matters to your intended audience, then you become relevant. Then people are going to start leaning in even more. And they're hungry, they want more from you. So that's the other thing to think about. The third thing is really quite simple, and it's a logistics piece that often many people don't ask. For example, how long do I have on the platform? When is the show going to air? Can I sell from the platform? Can I give a free offer on the platform? Remembering to email and thank the host for allowing you to be a guest on the platform, because what this does, it enables you to create a win-win to be invited back again. And that's one of the trainings that we do, is we get kind of a deep dive in dissecting that pre-conversation that you should have with that interviewer. Because just like they want to get to know you beforehand so that they can prepare and how they're going to present you and ask you questions to create this flow in conversation, you also want to interview them to make sure that you're prepared so that you are delivering to a high standard so that it's appealing to their audience. You want to find out, who is your audience? What can you tell me about the demographics? Some people are very concerned about, well, what's the reach? How many people, right? So here's a question for you. And I posed this to someone today. Let's say you're being interviewed by a host and they have a viewing audience, I'm just making this up, of 20,000. 20,000 people view this live. So we're going to have two scenarios. You have 20,000 that view one platform live. You have another that has 10,000 live, but 50,000 have viewed this platform on an on-demand basis, right? So you got 20,000 live, and that's it. It's kind of a one and done. There's no on-demand, nothing. And that's very often what you see in radio shows. They may or may not have it up to listen to afterwards. Or you have that one that has a long-standing engagement platform where it is on demand for a certain period of time. You have to ask yourself, which is going to give you the greater benefit? That one and done, so you got the 20, or where you know that someone may have missed that programming, but they can come back and you can keep referring people to that platform. Other thing is, can you get a copy of it? Some people do not give copies, or they may give it for a cost. But what you want to do whenever possible is to get a copy of the programming from end to end. You also want to ask them, do you have shared copyrights, which means it allows you editable rights in how you display and promote the show. So the one thing you want to do is always give credit to the show host. I know it's very disappointing if you're a show owner and you see that someone has taken your material and they've somehow edited it and cut out your banners or cut out your information, and now they've placed it on their page, but there's no credit given to you. There's no referral back to your particular show. That to me is an etiquette thing, and it's sort of unspoken. If I am fortunate to be a guest on someone's platform and they've given me the material that I can show over and over again, the first thing I want to do is thank them. First of all, find out if I have editable or shared copyrights to the material. And then thirdly, I want to make sure that wherever I post it, even if I am modifying it and creating reels off of the long format, that I am always giving credit to the host. And if I am using reels, that I link them back to the original show. And you may think, well, why would I want to do that? I want everyone to come to my YouTube channel. I want to build my YouTube viewership. You can still do that. There's different lanes, right? So you can message to your YouTube audience or those that you're trying to build, but also give credit to that show host because they are also trying to build their viewership. And if you're this great and dynamic guest, why don't you want to celebrate them and also introduce your audience to theirs? So again, just think a little bit about that in your conversation. So again, you want to understand just the basic logistics, find out if you can get a copy. Also, you want to find out when is it going to air and will there be collateral associated with it? So again, we're talking about visibility is strategic. Will they have collateral that you can use? Or can you white label the collateral? Can you co-brand the collateral? Or is it sufficient the way it is that you could use to help market the upcoming show as well as post-production? So there's many strategies to take that one show and slice and dice it in so many ways. Now, the one thing that I found when I'm talking to my coaching clients is they're excited about being interviewed and they've got it and it's a one and done. They let people know it's airing. They may come back in a week or so and say, hey, if you missed it, but then they never use it again. You want to, if you have a key message and if you feel you knocked that interview out the park, make it evergreen. Use it over and over and over again. AI allows you to simplify your time and your energy when it comes, and streamline, I guess is a better word, to streamline your efforts. So you've got, let's say, this long form, it's 55 minutes. And in that 55 minutes, they asked you 10 questions. So you have the one, right? Now you have your 10 questions. So now out of that one, you have 11 possible reels. Now from those reels, you can have drip campaigns where maybe you now put the audio into AI and ask it to now write you up a nice little LinkedIn piece. Or perhaps it's an email campaign where you're giving people another offer. So there's so many ways, again, that one moment of time that you can be strategic in how you maximize your visibility. And instead of spending your will to say, how many programs and platforms can I get on? And you're on a lot, but you're not reusing the material. I see it as such a waste. You know, you've got this, it's like I keep going to the store and I'm filling my freezer with food, right? And I take a little bit and I eat a little bit, but then I keep packing it away. Well, this is a way to build your evergreen repository. Let's say, for example, you've done this great interview and someone saw it and they asked, I know that there's going to be a speaking engagement session, or there is a session where they're looking for facilitators or moderators or instructors on a particular topic. Do you have any material that you can send us? Well, yeah, if you had created your interview in a way that allowed you to have a teachable moment or moments in it, then you can take that and now it becomes one of your promotional reels for who you are. So again, third party endorsement. The other thing is I always ask my interviewers, how was it? Would you mind writing me a quick review or giving me just a brief testimonial? And I make it really easy for them. I send them a thank you, and I have a little form, and it's like, did I meet your audience expectation? If I could, and I ask them, if there was one thing I could have offered to your audience, what is it? Because I want to know how I might be able to improve if I come to their platform. And then the third thing, if I met the need and you feel that I delivered to your customers, would you mind just giving me a one or two a liner that just said that you enjoyed the interview, and that's it, and that will allow me to promote it on my social media. It draws attention to your platform, and it creates a win-win. Sometimes we are afraid to ask. It's like, phew, okay, that's done, it's over, and we go out the door. You want to keep that engagement going because you never know who these individuals know, right? You never know what other opportunities may exist. We'll be right back before we close out. We're here talking about visibility is strategic. I'm LaWanna Bradford here on Business and Financial Raw Talk. And I truly believe visibility is strategic. And we have the opportunity through our networking, through our associations, through our interview platforms to position ourselves to be the best viable option. And the particular platform that we are talking about is if you've got your podcast, you have your radio, you have your TV shows, you have your streaming networks, you have your social media platforms, YouTube platforms. There's so many different ways that you can position yourself to get the message known. And the first is when we talked about refocusing, understanding where you are in your current environment, in your current industry. Where do you stand? What makes you different? What makes you unique? What's happening in and around you? That's always a win-win. The second thing is be willing to interview your host before the show. So having that exchange, they want to know more about you. They want to make sure they are prepped and ready to host you in a way that gets you noticed, recognized, and celebrated, but you want to do the same for them. It's about creating a win-win so that you can be invited back again. Asking those key logistical questions, right? Who is your audience, your demographics? When is this going to be posted? Will I get a copy of it? Will it be shared copyrights? Will I have editing rights? And also making sure that you give credit where credit is due and don't just try to take all the glory yourself. We are almost out of time, and I just want to encourage you that there are so many opportunities out there to position yourself to be the best viable option. But the first thing that is so important is you have to really know what your central message is, what that call to action is, why it would matter to that particular audience, and how do you position yourself to become endearing and trusting to that audience. You can build trust in a very brief period of time. So whether you're on a show for 20 minutes, 55 minutes. Perhaps you're fortunate to land on major media and you have 3 to 4 minutes. How are you able to condense your messaging down? So I always encourage individuals, whatever your core is, and if you know you want to promote that over and over again, and I'll use like my book that I mentioned, I Pledge of Allegiance, A Journey Through the Words That Shaped a Nation. I have to be positioned whether I am on a long form show where I have 55 minutes like I did today, and we can just bounce ideas and have this great, wonderful, rich conversation, to if I get a call from my publicist who says, LaWanna, I've got you on a CBS network or CBS affiliate station, and they're going to talk to you for about 3 to 5 minutes. You ready to go? I need to make sure that I am seasoned and polished enough in my delivery, in that so what factor, in that final call to action, that whether I have 55 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes, the impact is the same. And that's one of the things that we train on is, again, how to create that win-win, how to go from hidden to seen, how to be that best viable option, and to do so in a communicative way that builds trust, rapport, and confidence. Because the greatest, I think the greatest feeling is when you get that endorsement from the show host. And when they tell you, wow, this was so great. Once that book launches, or once you do whatever you're doing, we want to have you back again. We want to hear, what's next. We want to hear how things are working for you. That's when you know you've hit the sweet spot. Now, you may not hit it all the time, but if you have a strategy in place, again, visibility is strategic. When you have a strategy in place and you just don't go willy-nilly, but you have visibility by design, creating your framework that works not only for you, but for the host, then you're going to see yourself creating more impact, influence, and ultimately income. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this brief edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford, and I want to encourage you to, you've heard me talk about this book, go to Amazon.com. We are in pre-order stage for my book, I Pledge Allegiance, A Journey Through the Words That Shaped a Nation. We are in pre-order right now, and it will actually launch on July 20th. Go in, check it out, and would love your support, and would love to have you as a guest on the show if you're interested. If you have a business book, if you have innovation when it comes to business application and financial solutions, reach out to us. And I have it below here. Just type guest info on the subject line and email me at LaWanna@BradfordGroupMTG.com. Again, put guest info in the subject line and email me at LaWanna@BradfordGroupMTG.com. I'm so excited because our new talent director, Miriam Smith-Stevens, is on it. I mean, we're already building up for the end of summer and fall season, our series for the summer and fall. Love for you to be a part of that. So contact us and we will talk about how you can be a part of our E360 TV community and Business and Financial Raw Talk. Well, with that, be safe, be well, and remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. Until next time, be well. I am still here. Is that amazing? Be well, everyone.